What is up, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? Welcome back to World of Tanks. New week, new episodes, and let's kick off this week with something new. In today's episode I am going to talk about yet another replacement that WarGaming is thinking about doing, and as we all know, if WarGaming is thinking about something, most likely this is going to happen as well, after those serious steps at least, because Object 257, guys, is going to replace T-10, Tier 9 Soviet Russian heavy tank. Why? In their words, T-10 never fitted in the middle of IS-3 and IS-7. Both vehicles were able to play around their armor, were able to count on their armor on IS-3 and IS-7 was really good. But seems like that doesn't go for T-10, for T-10's armor. T-10 is kind of a glass cannon. In my opinion, it is not that drastical change actually. Like, if I'm going to compare IS-3, T-10 and IS-7 tier by tier, yes, IS-3 has really good armor in tier 8, IS-7 has really good armor even in tier 10, especially in hull down position. But T-10 in tier 9 battles, well, actually it wasn't that bad. But WarGaming said it doesn't fit into the deck tree, and they are going to replace it with Object 257 that has a lot better armor. But when this replacement is going to happen, I do not know that yet, and I believe WarGaming doesn't know that yet as well. But I was able to get a lot of information about Object 257 from different places, from vk.com, VotExpress and some other news sources. I was able to get some armor profiles, first pictures and some actual footage as well, while this vehicle is driving on the battlefield. So today we are taking our first look at upcoming T-10's replacement, Object 257, upcoming Tier 9 Soviet Russian heavy tank going next to the ST-1. Now, before we are jumping into first details, let's take a look at a couple of pictures. In my opinion, this vehicle looks a lot like baby Object 260. I believe this reminds me Object 260 the most, or a little bit awkward looking T-10. In my opinion, it is not the most beautiful vehicle, but is it better in the middle of IS-3 and IS-7? Well, you tell me. So let's jump into the first details, and I believe let's start with something that should make this vehicle a little bit different from T-10. And this is going to be the armor. A quick reminder for you, armor on T-10, hull armor on T-10 was 120, 120 and 60. So 120 in the front, 120 on the sides. Turret armor was 250, 201 and 90. But the T-10 had a couple of weak spots on the top of the turret. Now, let's take a look at Object 257. And yes guys, armor on 257 is... it is a lot better. Hull armor 150 in the front, 140 on the sides and 70 in the rear. So frontal hull armor is 30mm thicker, side armor is 20mm thicker and rear armor is 10mm thicker than on T-10. But guys, turret is extremely interesting, because turret armor values are mad. 350 in the front, 350mm thick frontal turret armor, 240 on the sides and 100 in the rear of the turret. But guys, take a look at those first armor profile pictures. We can see a couple of really interesting things from this picture. Hull, it is complete yellow. Yes, it is complete yellow, turret is really strong, but look at the turret. Look at the top of the turret. Seems like this vehicle has exactly the same problem as Object 140 had, not anymore, as IS-3 or IS-4. Super weak roof, super weak turret roof. That is overmatchable by almost every single tank that this vehicle is going to see on the battlefield. Or at least by, let's say, 122 plus mil guns. Turret roof, once again, on Soviet heavy tank is complete green, and upper hull area is actually complete green as well, as we can see. So interesting. with a little bit higher vehicles, you are easily able to overmatch that frontal hull armor. Or simply shoot at the top of the turret. Easy penetration, easy overmatch, seems like it at least. On T-10, commander hatches were kind of weak spots as well, but over here you can see we have a lot of red and a lot of orange. So commander hatches are a lot smaller and no weak spots. So when this vehicle gets into hull down position, you are almost never ever able to penetrate it, especially in tier 9 battles. Maybe with some tier 10 guns you are, but not the turret. You can only dream about penetrating that turret. And side armor, really awesome side scraper, but once again, with pointy nose vehicles, you really do not want to side scrape because you are going to devalue your frontal armor. So maybe reverse side scraping. Yes, this is going to be a reverse side scraper because of that side armor, like IS-4. What was the side armor on IS-4? Quickly, let me see. IS-4's side armor was 160. Okay, so this is not that far off. IS-4 had 140 in the front, 160 on the sides, and 100 in the rear. Yep, but let's move on. So this is going to be that new special thing about Object 257. Improved armor. That is, yeah, interesting, I believe I have to say. But hit points, 1900 hit points, which is average, pretty standard. Shell average penetration, 248, 340 with heat, and 68 with HE. Gun seems to be the same as on T-10, 440 alpha damage and 530 with 80 rounds. But I am not 100% sure about the penetration, because on one picture it showed 248 and on the other picture it showed 260 millimeters of penetration with 440 alpha damage. T-10 at the moment has 258 millimeters of penetration, so I don't know, maybe this is still going to change a little bit, but let's say around 250 millimeters of penetration with standard rounds. Reload time is 12.3 seconds, which equals 4.88 rounds per minute. Aiming time 2.7 seconds, average damage per minute 2147. Accuracy 0.38, gun depression as always on Soviet heavy tanks not the best, -5 degrees and 15 degrees of gun elevation. So you cannot actually be that hull down with Object 257. Well, I wasn't surprised actually. Moving on, turret traverse speed is 26 degrees per second, tank traverse speed is 28 degrees per second. Actually quite low turret rotation speed and hull traverse speed as well. But mobility, this vehicle is going to have 850 horsepower engine with 15.5 horsepower per ton specific power ratio, which is really awesome actually for a heavy tank. Top speed 50 and reverse speed 15. View range 390 meters. And we are done. Quick information panel on the screen as well for you if you would like to check them out once again. From the super test, as we can see in Russian, that means super test. C means S, Y means U, and this is P. Further there is P. Okay, I'm not going to teach you any Russian. And actually guys, if I'm going to compare those stats to the T-10, I think all those stats you just heard are without 100% crew. I believe those stats were vehicle stock stats. So compared to the old T-10, gun handling is almost the same, DPM is exactly the same, penetration, believe it or not, but Object 258 is going to lose 10 millimeters of penetration. 248 compared to the 258 on T-10. But once again, I am not 100% sure about the final penetration values on Object 257. Accuracy is the same, aiming time is 0.1 seconds better on Object 257 than on T-10. What else interesting I can find over here? What was T-10's gun depression? -5 degrees as well, and T-10 had 10 meters better view range, 400 meter view range, not bad. But what is really good about Object 257 is that it has better power to weight ratio than on T-10, even though it has a lot more armor. A lot thicker hull armor, a lot thicker turret armor, and still almost 1 horsepower per ton better power to weight ratio. Yeah, this is really good. for object 257, but all the rest of the stats, they seem to be kind of the same. And as always, you have to keep in mind those stats are from the supertest server, so everything is subject to change. I have to tell you guys that every single time, just in case anything is going to be tuned. But this is going to be our upcoming replacement for T10 object 257. You might ask, what happens to the T10? Hopefully WarGaming is going to do it right this time. Hopefully they're simply not going to remove T10 from the deck tree and replace it with object 257. But WarGaming has an idea to implement yet another mini branch into the game, starting from IS3. So from IS3 I guess you can go into the object 257 and into the T10 as well with this new mini branch. And maybe we get yet another tier 10 Soviet Russian heavy tank, or object 257 leads into the IS-7 together with T10, if you know what I mean. But maybe yet another Soviet Russian tier 10 heavy tank, overpowered heavy tank. Why the hell not, guys? Because we do not have them in the game at the moment. Anyway, we do not know what is going to happen, we simply have to wait and see, but hopefully they are simply not going to remove T10 from the game, as they are doing with the Death Star or with FE215B. I really do not understand why they simply cannot keep those vehicles on the deck tree like they are doing with Soviet Russian medium tanks. We have object 430, 140 and T-62A. They are simply throwing tier 10 Soviet medium tanks at the end of the deck tree, so they can do the same with FE215B, for example. But no. Anyway guys, this was my today's first details episode about the upcoming replacement. I hope today's episode was informative. I thank you for tuning in, for watching. If you enjoyed, thumbs up button is for that. If you didn't, thumbs down button is for that. And I catch you tomorrow with something else. Stay awesome, take care, stay sexy, and bye.